The first light of dawn crept silently over the rooftops, painting the world in hues of gray and silver. In the heart of the city, where noise often reigned supreme, an almost sacred silence pervaded the early hour. Isabella Parker walked with slow, deliberate steps through the winding alleyways, each footfall echoing softly in the morning stillness. Her mind, however, was anything but quiet. Isabella's life had been a tapestry of dreams and achievements until a single thread unraveled everything. Once, her name was synonymous with promise in veterinary circles. Her hands had brought countless animals back from the precipice of despair. Yet now those hands felt empty and cold. She had stepped away from it all after a particularly tragic case. A young dog, barely more than a pup, lost to a series of misjudgments she couldn't shake from her conscience. It was an event that had fractured her confidence and left her adrift on an emotional sea without a rudder. Staring at the cracked pavement beneath her feet, Isabella's heart ached under the crushing weight of remorse. Her mind kept replaying that fateful day, the moment clarity was snatched from her grasp, and a creature in her care slipped away like sand through her fingers. The grief was sharp. It pierced through her every thought, an incessant reminder of her shortcomings. The truth was, Isabella was hiding. She was hiding from her past, from the people who knew her, and, most importantly, from herself. She avoided old colleagues, sidestepped friends' inquiries about her absence from the profession, and had exiled herself to a solitary life. Each dawn walk was a pilgrimage of sorts, a way to outrun the echoes of her bruised pride and shuttered dreams. But on that particular morning, fate had a different path laid out for her. As she turned a corner, the faint silhouette of something on the ground caught her attention. She stopped in her tracks, peering through the graying mist at the form nestled against the alleyway wall. As her eyes adjusted, Isabella's breath caught in her throat. A large shepherd mix was sprawled on the pavement, chest rising and falling erratically, each breath a laborious struggle. His fur was disheveled, matted with dirt and old leaves, a testament to the hardships he'd endured. But it was his eyes, half-lidded yet searching, that drew her in, a silent plea that reached deep into the recesses of her heart. And there, nestled protectively alongside him, was a stray cat. It was an incongruous sight, small and delicate, yet holding a posture of fierce guardianship. Midnight black with a striking silver streak under its chin, the cat watched Isabella with a look that felt antiquated and wise beyond its years, unwavering and expectant. For a moment, Isabella hesitated. Her immediate instinct was to flee back the way she came. She couldn't handle more loss or the risk of failing again. But something, a whisper perhaps, urged her forward, closer to these beleaguered travelers of the early morning. Gently, she knelt beside the duo. The dog whimpered, his sound a raspy prayer, and the cat pressed closer to him, wrapping its paw protectively around his neck. "Hey there, buddy," Isabella murmured softly, her fingers trembling as she reached out to the dog. "I'm here to help." The contact sparked a connection, not just with the animals, but with a dormant part of herself. She assessed him quickly, her experienced eyes picking out signs of neglect and ill health, the desperation underlying his physical form. Oddly comforted by the familiarity, despite its grim context, she felt a spark, a flicker of that once bright passion that had guided her life. The shepherd's eyes locked onto hers, and in that moment, Isabella found herself unable to look away from the depth of need reflected back at her. This wasn't just a dog on the brink of death. This was a rallying call, an unspoken challenge to step up and reclaim a life lost to inertia and fear. Decisively, she slipped off her knit scarf, carefully wrapping it around the dog. "You'll be okay," she whispered, though she wasn't sure if she was speaking to him or herself. Feeling a nudge at her ankle, she glanced down to see midnight weaving between her feet, as if approving her actions. The cat's luminous eyes meeting hers seemed to spark a pact, a silent promise of solidarity and shared purpose. Gently, with a reverence befitting new beginnings, Isabella gathered the dog into her arms. The weight was considerable, and his body hung limp, but there was an undeniable warmth and steadiness in his quiet moans. Midnight stayed close, as if warding off unseen threats, its tiny form a stronghold of resilience. The most arduous trek Isabella embarked upon that morning was not the physical journey through the alleyways back to her apartment, but the internal odyssey towards reclaiming her sense of self. Each step forward rid her of some of the guilt that clung stubbornly to her shoulders, replacing it with responsibility, a reawakening of her dormant spirit. Though the journey back to trust in herself would be long, it began with this moment, a moment of deliberate choice to act, to care, and to heal once more. As she cradled the tired shepherd, feeling the steady presence of the cat beside them, Isabella could sense the fragile whisper of hope. It was the first breath of a miracle she had yet to fully believe in, but for the first time in months, she felt her heart inclined toward the possibility. As the first light of dawn crept silently over the rooftops, painting the world in hues of gray and silver, Isabella Parker walked with slow, deliberate steps through the winding alleyways. In the heart of the city where noise often reigned supreme, an almost sacred silence pervaded the early hour. Each footfall echoed softly in the morning stillness, and though she moved through the physical world, her mind traveled elsewhere. Her life had been a tapestry of dreams and achievements until it unraveled into a frayed mess she was now trying, albeit falteringly, to stitch back together. Once considered a beacon of promise in veterinary medicine, Isabella's hands had healed countless animals. Yet now, those hands trembled at shadows dressed in doubt and despair. One particular failure had carved a deep chasm within her, a young dog lost not just to fate, but to her own mistakes. The memory clasped cold iron shackles around her heart, whispering incessantly of her inadequacies. Turning a corner, she halted abruptly as a silhouette emerged from the foggy edge of her vision. It lay sprawled across the damp pavement, indiscernible yet familiar. Isabella's breath caught, a premonition of heartache whispering through her chest. A large shepherd mix lay before her, his chest rising and falling with painful effort. His fur was a neglected tangle of dirt and remnants of past leaves, worn like the cloak of his harsh life. But it was his eyes, barely open yet possessing a profound depth, that drew her in, a silent plea that reached past skin and bone to nestle in the tender heart of her being. Nestled against him, like an inseparable shadow, was a stray cat. The sight was so incongruous that Isabella blinked twice to ensure it wasn't a trick of the light, a tiny figure of fur and fierceness standing sentinel over its unlikely friend. Midnight black with a streak of silver under its chin, the cat regarded Isabella with an air of antiquated wisdom and unyielding resolve. In this frozen moment, Isabella stood at a crossroads of decision. Every part of her wanted to turn on her heel, to escape back into the comforting gray of failure she had made her home. But something primal and insistent pushed her feet forward, an urge that felt both alien and intimately hers. She crouched beside them, surrendering to a pull deep in her soul. "Hey there, buddy," she murmured softly to the dog, slowly reaching out as if in prayer. Her touch was light and cautious, rousing an immediate reaction, 100 tiny signals of life confirming what needed to be done. The dog whimpered, soft and guttural, and the cat pressed closer to him, its paw rested gently in a protective grip around the dog's neck. Isabella's voice whispered again, but this time with a sliver of conviction. "I'm here to help." Her hands worked quickly, assessing him with precision learned from years of practice that somehow managed to break through the rust of disuse. His malnourishment, festering wounds, that sharp eye belied a story of survival and stoic courage. Despite the grim scene, Isabella felt something within her stir, a flickering revival of purpose and longing. In the shepherd's gaze, clouded but unyielding, she found a mirror reflecting her own fatigued spirit, an uncanny connection binding them together. This wasn't simply a rescue effort. It was a challenge, a fervent call that clawed through the haze of her doubts. Seating herself fully on the ground to gather the strength needed to transform into her own deliverer, Isabella slipped off her scarf, wrapping the dog with what warmth she could offer. "You'll be okay," she promised, and though her voice wavered, resolve steadied her hands. Midnight brushed reassuringly against her leg, acknowledging her claim, agreeing to this unforeseen alliance. Carefully, she lifted the shepherd. His weight, though significant, was a tangible promise, a compact of new beginnings carried in trembling arms. Midnight leapfrogged her steps, weaving protectively as if casting wards against the shadows that threatened to encroach. Navigating through the quiet streets towards her apartment, Isabella embarked on an odyssey not defined by distance, but by the internal storms she sought to calm. With every forward step, shards of guilt slipped from her shoulders, dropping to be replaced by a burgeoning sense of responsibility and revitalization. Isabella could feel the early morning hustle start to stitch the waking city around them, its heartbeats pulsing in time with her own fledgling hope. There'd be hurdles to navigate, boundless uncertainties to face, but she realized now with Midnight and Whisper, the name that formed unconsciously in her mind for the shepherd, she was not alone. By the time Isabella reached her door, she was standing on the precipice of transformation, a pawn no longer, but a player in her fate's unending game. Whisper's gentle snores blended with the soothing vibration of Midnight's purrs made a perfect, strange harmony. As she settled Whisper onto a makeshift bed and prepared to tend to him and Midnight both, Isabella was met with the estranged cousins of hope and determination that her life had sorely missed. With this chance encounter, the miraculous intersection of hearts in need, Isabella felt her once shadowed heart incline towards belief again. Perhaps these streets, these forlorn and forgotten places, had always held the whispers of miracles within, waiting for a hand to extend beyond what eyes could see. As Whisper's breathing leveled and thrust unto her an undeniable trust, Isabella could almost hear the first crack of daylight echo. The captain of her own frailties, she resolved to man the helm fiercely, for it was time to reclaim faith, not just in healing, but in the spirit that guided each new step. The days blurred and folded together into an unexpectedly harmonious pattern, a testament to the sheer force of Isabella's will and the silent camaraderie of her new companions. Every morning began with the ritual care of Whisper and Midnight, a cycle of feeding and cleaning that gradually infused structure into her previously chaotic existence. Isabella's small apartment became a sanctuary, their shared bastion against the world harshness, alive with the humid warmth of revitalization. Whisper, the shepherd mix who had once skirted the edge of life, thrived under Isabella's tender care. His once dull coat began to shimmer with health, golden tones catching the light just so, evoking the sunlit fields of summers past. The infection that had threatened to snuff out his spirit yielded to expertise wielded with newfound precision. As difficulties arose, Isabella tackled each one with an unwavering resolve. The act of nurturing reawakened within her the soul of a healer. Every step Whisper regained represented a small victory, echoed in the sharp look of pride in Midnight's eyes. The cat, never far from Isabella or Whisper, sewn into the very fabric of their days, became the silent guardian, offering companionship that transcended language or time. Midnight's instinctual wisdom and unwavering presence were as vital as any salve, the duo's quiet assurance delivering a balm to Isabella's tattered heart. Resistance bore witness in others, concerned acquaintances who remarked on her sudden return to professional circles after what felt like a vanishing act. Whisper's presence, however, freed her from unspoken doubts, encouraging her with each loyal glance to present her true self to the world once more. As Whisper's physique grew under Isabella's nurturing, so too did her confidence, each wag of his tail enabling her to take more steps outwards into a life she had nearly forsaken. But Whisper and Midnight's unwavering faith wasn't simply therapeutic. It also became a bridge. That bridge led Isabella back into the busy avenues of the veterinary community, her reemergence underscored by the story of the dog and the cat, whose incredible bond became a source of fascination and inspiration. Her tales of their unwavering loyalty in the face of despair sparked a flame of compassion, attracting the attention not only of clients and former colleagues, but of strangers drawn to the light of their story. The city, thrumming with indifference, began to show its softer edges. People reached out, offering food, supplies, and opportunities for involvement. At the local shelter, familiar faces welcomed her return, alongside new ones eager to lend their hearts and hands to her burgeoning cause. Isabella became a conduit through which the hidden stories of countless animals were woven into the narrative of rescue and redemption. The true transformative power of Whisper and Midnight's partnership unfolded during a rain-soaked evening when unease crackled in the air like an impending storm. In the confines of her apartment, dimly lit against the darkening sky, Isabella witnessed a scene that crystallized their journey. Whisper, now robust and vibrant, lay sprawled comfortably yet restlessly. Midnight perched close, sensing a need for reassurance. As thunder rolled desolately in the distance, Whisper trembled, an echo of the fearsome past Isabella fought so hard to banish from him. Midnight inched closer, laying a gentle paw upon his neck, a stolid reminder of presence and security. Isabella watched, captured by the emotional symphony before her, a testament to empathy that crossed boundaries and spoke the language of the heart. It was in this simple, profound moment that Isabella realized the fullness of what their union represented, a triumph of resilience against an unkind world, a testament to unwavering hope amidst hardship. Just as Whisper had saved her from the brink, so did Midnight, each in their way, propel her forward. The next morning shattered the rain's residue with clearer skies, and Isabella, fueled by an irrefutable sense of determination, ventured beyond her apartment. Whisper trotted alongside, the embodiment of spirits renewed, with Midnight by his side, ever poised by loyalty. Their shared journey, initiated from the dedication of a simple street encounter, stood as a testament to possibility and providence. They walked with purpose toward the day's assignment, introducing her plans to expand her reach, transforming neglected corners of the city into havens of care and rehabilitation for the unnoticed and forgotten. She longed to inspire her clients with the same love and passion she'd found through Whisper and Midnight, cravings set forth from vulnerabilities foregone. At the veterinary clinic she had finally summoned the courage to revisit, Isabella unveiled her vision. Her enthusiasm painted pictures of mobile units and open-air rescues, fostering partnerships that stitched together the city's narrative woven by figures like Whisper and Midnight. Each face present, each believing hand, mirrored the devotion to change that Isabella held close. The climax that such hope permitted was not a single momentous victory, but rather a cascade of smaller triumphs, a collective societal shift in the story she was helping to rewrite. Her story, Whisper's saga, Midnight's vigil, it all sang to the possibility of a better world sown through acts of empathy and grace. As Isabella stood before the clinic's eager assembly, the birthing of their next project marked the fruition of a hard-fought journey. In Whisper's sagacious eyes, Midnight's unwavering poise, Isabella glimpsed a future fired from the same heart that had once beat solely to heal. Her embracing of the miracles that ensued from such unyielding hope delivered her into the light that radiated beyond her shadows. In these halos of light and resilience, Whisper curled contentedly at her feet, Midnight nestled by his side. Their shared heartbeats grounded Isabella in the moment that resonated with the eternity of hope, a timeless current that returned to her what was once lost, now found anew in the chapters she awaited to write. The days blurred and folded together into an unexpectedly harmonious pattern, a testament to the sheer force of Isabella's will and the silent camaraderie of her new companions. Every morning began with the ritual care of Whisper and Midnight, a cycle of feeding and cleaning that gradually infused structure into her previously chaotic existence. Isabella's small apartment became a sanctuary, their shared bastion against the world harshness, alive with the humid warmth of revitalization. Whisper, the shepherd mix who had once skirted the edge of life, thrived under Isabella's tender care. His once dull coat began to shimmer with health, golden tones catching the light just so, evoking the sunlit fields of summers past. The infection that had threatened to snuff out his spirit yielded to expertise wielded with newfound precision. As difficulties arose, Isabella tackled each one with an unwavering resolve. The act of nurturing reawakened the soul of a healer within her. Every step Whisper regained represented a small victory, echoed in the sharp look of pride in Midnight's eyes. The cat, never far from Isabella or Whisper, sewn into the very fabric of their days, became the silent guardian, offering companionship that transcended language or time. Midnight's instinctual wisdom and unwavering presence were as vital as any salve, the duo's quiet assurance delivering a balm to Isabella's tattered heart. Resistance bore witness in others, concerned acquaintances who remarked on her sudden return to professional circles after what felt like a vanishing act. Whisper's presence, however, freed her from unspoken doubts, encouraging her with each loyal glance to present her true self to the world once more. As Whisper grew under Isabella's nurturing, so too did her confidence, each wag of his tail enabling her to take more steps outwards into a life she had nearly forsaken. But Whisper and Midnight's unwavering faith wasn't simply therapeutic. It also became a bridge. This bridge led Isabella back into the bustling avenues of the veterinary community, her reemergence underscored by the story of the dog and the cat, whose incredible bond fascinated and inspired many. Her tales of their unwavering loyalty in the face of despair sparked a flame of compassion, attracting the attention not only of clients and former colleagues, but of strangers drawn to the light of their story. The city, once thrumming with indifference, began to show its softer edges. People reached out, offering food, supplies, and opportunities for involvement. At the local shelter, familiar faces welcomed her return, alongside new ones eager to lend their hearts and hands to her burgeoning cause. Isabella became a conduit through which the hidden stories of countless animals were woven into the narrative of rescue and redemption. One evening, as rain sheeted the streets and the scent of earth and water filled her small living room, a sense of unease crackled in the air like an impending storm. Within the soft confines of her apartment, dimly lit against the darkening sky, Isabella witnessed a scene that would crystallize their journey in her heart. Whisper, now robust and vibrant, lay sprawled comfortably, yet restlessly. Midnight perched close, their green eyes sensing an unspoken need for reassurance. As thunder rolled desolately in the distance, Whisper trembled, an echo from the fearsome past Isabella had fought so hard to banish from him. Midnight inched closer, laying a gentle paw upon Whisper's neck, a stolid reminder of presence and security. Isabella watched, captured by the emotional symphony before her, a testament to empathy that crossed boundaries and spoke the language of the heart. In that simple, profound moment, Isabella realized the fullness of what their union represented, a triumph of resilience against an unkind world, a beacon of unwavering hope amidst hardship. Just as Whisper had saved her from the brink, Midnight, too, propelled her forward with silent tenacity. The morning after the storm dawned clear, sweeping away the residues of the night's deluge. Isabella, fueled by an irrefutable sense of determination, ventured beyond her apartment. Whisper trotted alongside, the embodiment of spirits renewed, with Midnight by his side, ever poised by loyalty. Their shared journey, born from the dedication of a simple street encounter, stood as a testament to possibility and providence. Their path led them to the day's assignment, the unveiling of her plans to expand her reach, to transform neglected corners of the city into havens of care and rehabilitation for the unnoticed and forgotten. She longed to inspire the clients who would gather, to ignite them with the same love and passion she'd found through Whisper and Midnight, cravings set forth from vulnerabilities foregone. At the veterinary clinic she had finally summoned the courage to revisit, Isabella unveiled her vision. Her enthusiasm painted pictures of mobile units and open-air rescues, fostering partnerships that stitched together the city's narrative woven by figures like Whisper and Midnight. Each face present mirrored the devotion to change that Isabella held close. Each believing hand extended forged a new story of hope. Her speech was not a plea, but an invitation to reconstruct the world with empathy as a cornerstone. The climax permitted by such hope was not a single momentous victory, but rather a cascade of smaller triumphs. Each gesture, each saved creature, a jewel in the vast tapestry of humane evolution. The collective societal shift she was helping to forge resonated deeply within her, weaving a tale where Whisper's saga and Midnight's vigil sang the possibility of a better world sown through acts of earnest grace. As Isabella stood before the clinic's eager assembly, the birthing of their next project marked the fruition of her hard-fought journey. She glimpsed the dreams of the future in Whisper's sagacious eyes and Midnight's unwavering poise, a reflection of the heart that now beat with a renewed purpose to heal. Through the miracles that unyielding hope had ushered into her life, Isabella found herself delivered into a light that radiated beyond her shadows. In these halos of light and resilience, Whisper curled contentedly at her feet, Midnight nestled by his side. Their shared heartbeats grounded Isabella in the moment that resonated with eternity, a timeless current returning to her what was once lost, now rediscovered and pulsating anew in the unwritten chapters awaiting her touch. As the sun rose to paint the horizon in hues of soft lavender and gold, Isabella felt an unaccustomed lightness in her step. The clear morning air carried a quiet promise, a whisper of renewal whispered by the first birds of day. Whisper, his fur now a cascade of boundless energy and health, trotted eagerly beside her while Midnight, ever the silent sentinel, padded close, his sleek form a shadow of devotion. Today was momentous, unlike any other in the year past. Isabella's sanctuary had come alive, not just with the chirps of passerby sparrows or the rustle of city life unfurling, but with a deeper, resonating vibrancy. It was tangible in the way Whisper's tail swung joyously, and in Midnight's soulful glances, urging her onward. Arriving at the community hub, a transformed space once languishing in neglect but now buzzing with excited chatter, Isabella's efforts glowed warmly in the sun's embrace. The scene was electrifying. Veterans of the veterinary field mingled with eager volunteers, each holding the spark of shared purpose in their eyes. This was more than a stone and mortar center. It embodied a revolution, script in action and compassion. Isabella's dream now a shared reality. Greeting each participant, Isabella radiated the genuine warmth of one whose path had been strewn with trials and triumphs, her smiles bridging the jagged valleys of her past with the fruitful plains of the present. Amongst the crowd, both old acquaintances and those just welcoming the realm of rescue and redemption contributed to an infectious sense of camaraderie and hope. Pausing momentarily, Isabella glanced around, her heart swelling with belonging, a belonging not just to her newfound mission, but to a community united by shared love. Her courage, once fragile as gossamer, now molded strong as steel, enabled her to connect openly with those who believed in the vision she laid before them. "Thank you all for coming today," Isabella began, her voice steady. "Today marks the beginning of transforming what was once just a dream. When I first found Whisper and Midnight, I was granted a gift, a catalyst that ignited within me the capacity to reconnect with the world I nearly abandoned." She looked to Whisper at her feet, memories of their first encounter scurrying across her thoughts like an old film. Midnight sat serenely beside him, his presence as regal as ever, which further imbued her with confidence. Together, They taught me about resilience and redemption, not just as concepts, but as lived experiences, she continued. They showed me what it means to pass through the shadow, to deeply understand pain, but never to let it define us. There was a stirring in the gathering, murmurs of agreement underscored by nods that fractured through the crowd like ripples across water. These people, drawn from varied walks of life, had come with the singular purpose of healing others and perhaps unwittingly themselves. In the coming months, we're poised to launch outreach programs that will bring care to the city's most neglected corners. We seek to create spaces of respite and rehabilitation, tailored to the unique needs of every animal in distress, Isabella announced, her words flecked with pebbled resolve. As she spoke, images projected behind her illustrated the breadth of their ambitions, mobile units ready to traverse the city, open-air clinics offering moments of safety amidst uncertainty, and a network of foster homes cultivating empathy from uncertainty. Together, with each paw print left upon these streets, we'll chart paths of compassion, Isabella concluded, drawing Whisper and Midnight closer as symbols of their shared journey. Let us honor the stories carried by every creature, ensuring they meet hands guided by love and not neglect. The crowd's applause swelled, a harmonious chorus echoing through the morning, reciprocating the hope interwoven into Isabella's narrative. Among the faces, she discerned futures forged in altruism, kindness palpable in every interaction, a tapestry finely stitched by determination and grace. After the formalities waned and plan details imbibed joyously by the eager associates, Isabella found herself surrounded by allies eager to unravel their own dreams tethered to her vision. As conversations unfolded, Whisper dodged sprightly between visitors, a four-legged ambassador offering solace and camaraderie. Meanwhile, Midnight wove gracefully through the throng, capturing fleeting moments of solitude, contemplation etched into his steady gait. Both creatures, who once bore lives fractured by neglect, now stood as sentinels of change and consistency. Watching Whisper elicit laughter and Midnight coax quiet reflection, Isabella caught herself marveling at the serendipity that threaded their destinies. These creatures, not just an echo from her past endeavor, but embodiments of prior resolve, gifted her the essence of purpose and limitless potential. As the sun cast lengthening shadows and the crowd began to disperse, Isabella remained grounded to the earth beneath her feet, cradled to plans now unfolding in the tangible world. Her stance, lone yet filled with collective spirit, embodied a singular vow, to work tirelessly so every forgotten creature might find safe harbor beneath the heavens. In that light, there was no room for shadows cast by self-doubt or haunted echoes, only space for restoration, for futures kindled by love, embraced passionately and fiercely. With Whisper at her side, his eyes pools of faithful understanding, and Midnight purring softly against her heart, Isabella returned to her vision, a story where streets teemed not just with life, but with hope unshackled from chains of despair. And together, they wandered into the open, beckoning with every step to inspire and uplift realms anew.